Okay, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Friday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Parish Construction and Roofing. If you need an orthopedic, go to Brock. You need a roof, you call Parish. Unique Physique, uniquephysique.com, Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. All of our great sponsors are linked in the description on YouTube, tagged on Facebook, and we are glad to have you aboard with us. News cycle kind of continues here a little bit. Emery Jones declared for the draft. I told you last week it was leaning that way, unfortunately, but would have loved to see him come back. But congrats to Emery, great career. 3 years at LSU, 38 games played, 36 games started. He was starting by his third game at LSU and started every game at right tackle after. You had two absolute stalwarts with Campbell and Jones. Man, it can't help but think about 2023 with Jaden at quarterback and Campbell and Emery Jones and Dellinger, Frazier, Charles Turner at center as a senior. He brought in Logan Diggs at running back. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, golly. I mean, so good. And he had the worst defense ever. Bummer. But congrats to Emery Jones. So LSU now has to replace 4 starters on the offensive line. Have a feeling I know what they'll do in the bowl game. And I guess it really depends, honestly. What Dellinger and Frazier do. If Dellinger and Frazier elect to play in the bowl game, great. Then that's easy. Tyree Adams is your left tackle, and very likely Weston Davis plays right tackle for you. So I think those are probably your starting tackles next year anyway, unless if you go into the portal and get somebody. A little more complicated if you're going into next year. If you don't grab a lineman out of the portal, which I think they will, but if you don't, Cohen Eccles plays center, more natural position. Maybe Eccles plays center, and you move Chester and Mubenga to your guards, and then you have Adams and Davis as your tackles. You could do it that way. But boy, you'd be really inexperienced. So chances are they'll go in the portal and try to add some degree of experience and depth there on the offensive line. So we'll have to keep watching how that goes. Also, Sage Ryan hit the portal. I know he's been a pretty easy punching bag for LSU fans for a long time. I've always maintained on Sage Ryan, he's been a good team guy. He's done everything they've asked him. He played out of position for 3 of his 4 years. He just had his best year at LSU playing his natural position. Imagine that. But all that said, I think LSU still needs to upgrade at safety, and you're seeing it. They're going pretty heavy in the portal, looking at the top safeties in the portal, and we'll see if they can land on any of them. So Zechariah Poyser is one we already talked about from Jacksonville State. Excuse me, the other one, kid from Purdue. His name is Dylan Thieneman, number 1 safety in the portal. Had 104 tackles this year as a sophomore, and 106 last year as a true freshman. Crazy. So see who the Tigers can land. All right, please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel, Facebook, like the page, share the post. Glad to have you all with us here. Brian, good morning from Holland, Michigan. Congrats to my South Plaquemine Hurricanes. Send them tornadoes back up to 3-8 empty-handed. Okay. South Plaquemine, Brian, isn't that a new school, or did they change their name? I seem to remember maybe South Plaquemine's changed. It was maybe a post-Katrina thing, right? Changed. Did they change their name, or was it a new school? Did some schools combine? Yeah, but good luck to all the high school players and coaches who are playing in state championships this weekend. Go make some memories, man. Good luck to everybody. Hey, Kelly Gross, good morning. Trivia, good morning. Brad David, good morning. Thomas, go Army, beat Navy. Thomas, I'm kind of on the other side of that one from you, man. My dad is a Navy guy, so I tend to pull for Navy. But kind of feeling Army might take it this year, though. Hey, Devin, good morning. Working at BR this week. Staying at the Stockade Bed and Breakfast. Cool. I don't know that I know what that is, but it's cool, man. Tanya, good morning, Uncle Scone. Finally catching the show live. Good to see you there, Tanya. Thank you so much for watching live. Appreciate that. Hey, Seth, must have missed it. Are y'all taking a break from Scone and Tea? Yeah, so unfortunately, Seth, we had a long stretch. So we were obviously doing it every Thursday there at Curbside, and then we hit this stretch where Halloween was on a Thursday, and then the next 2 Thursdays, T-Bob had a had a conflict that we'd already known about before we started Scone and Tea. So it was like 3 straight weeks we didn't do the show, and then we did the show, and then it was Thanksgiving, and then last week I was at in Florida for for Drew's cardiology appointment, and then last night we had the Calandros whiskey raffle, and next Thursday is the Guaranteed Christmas party. So it was going to be like we were going to do one show in 2 months, and so the guys at Curbside just pulled it. They said we're just. I mean, I get that you can't. I mean, I offered to move to Wednesday, offered to do what we could, but they just pulled it. So T-Bob and I will sort of we'll huddle and see what we want to do moving forward. Bronco Nation, more Matt. Hopefully we can catch some big fishes in the portal. Need to. Hey, Bailey, Nuss coming back is the biggest piece of the year. There's no playoff run without 13. Yeah, the only way, Bailey, it could happen is, look, well, realistically, like if Nuss didn't come back, you were going to have to go in the portal and go get into a bidding war for one of the top quarterbacks. Whoever this year's version of Cam Ward or Dylan Gabriel or Riley Leonard, whoever that is, you would have had to go, fight the other quarterback needy teams in the portal for one of those guys. Now, you may be in that situation next year because you're going to have to add some depth somewhere. Now, maybe Colin Hurley grows up in a big way this year and he stays and is ready to go in 2026. But I would realistically think you've got to have somebody with some experience who can come in. So, but that's a year away. But yes, for now, I mean, getting Nussmeier back is massive. Mark, Pelicans lost a close one. Saw that loss to the Kings by 2. Elijah, more Matt, when do you think we'll hear anything on Perkins? We got Nuss back, which is far and beyond the most important. Hope Perkins fulfills BK's statement about retention. Yeah, I haven't heard anything different, Elijah. Again, about 3 weeks ago, I know the 3 players they were working on were Perkins, Emery Jones, and Mason Taylor. Well, we know Mason and Emery have both left. Perkins was a guy that I felt at the time they kind of felt like was leaning towards staying. So as far as timeline, look, he's not playing in the bowl game, right? Because he's still coming off the torn ACL. So his timeline about isn't as significant about bowl preparation and stuff. But the draft decisions don't have to come until January is the deadline to make those draft decisions. It's easy if it feels like it's early. It is because guys don't play in the bowl game anymore. It used to be the draft decisions came after the bowl games. Well, now it's after the regular season because guys know they're not going to play in the bowl game. And so they start now. Finals are over today, I think. So now they start going to get ready for the draft. They start going to do, combine prep and all that sort of stuff. Caleb, have you heard anything about Caleb Jackson going to the portal? Whenever you mention running back room, you don't mention his name. Caleb, that's a little negligence on my part. Maybe I should mention Caleb Jackson. I guess part of me, because he was a non-factor this year, maybe that's an assumption. But you're right, and I should clarify that because he hasn't gone into the portal, and I haven't specifically heard anybody tell me that. Maybe just an assumption I'm making without saying it. Just more acting on certainties. Like, I know you're going to have Caden Durham, who's your leading rusher. I know you're going to have a 5-star Harlan Berry coming in and JT Lindsay. You move Juwan Johnson to running back. You know what I mean? Like but yes, you're right. Caleb Jackson's there as well. And that certainly, if Caleb Jackson comes back, minimizes, if not eliminates altogether, any need whatsoever for a running back in the portal. Mark, Jake Haener starting. Yep. That's the reports that the Saints are going to start Jake Haener. I don't love that, but I understand. I understand the decision. Um, I feel like they started Rattler the first time because they felt like he had the higher upside, gave him the better chance to win. It didn't go great. That's 3 games. Bryce Young is at the end of his second year, and he's just now looking like he's feeling comfortable. I don't know what we expected from Rattler for 3 games behind a makeshift offensive line with your best offensive players out. So seems like these bowl games almost become a preseason game for next year, letting us get a start last year. Now we may be trying a whole new offensive line. Yeah, Elijah, that's been my contention, man. I talked about it here, talked about it locked on, talked about it on AFR. The bowl games themselves are glorified exhibitions now. The most important part of the bowl game is not the bowl game, it's the dozen practices you get. And the example that I've given is Nuss. Like, that gave you a dozen practices for Nuss to take every rep with the ones, to go lead the huddle, to be the voice in the huddle, to let everybody in the team know he was the guy, to know what it's like to run out there, to go with the first team, to get timing with the receivers, all that sort of stuff, and then actually to go play in the game. So when you got the spring, it felt like, oh, I've done this already. It wasn't Nuss starting in the spring; he'd already done it for the bowl game. So that is the benefit. Now the trade-off is guys opt out of games, and you're not quite as good a team, and maybe you lose the game, and that stinks. But it's just not as significant as the importance of the practices. So to your point, yes, for the offensive line, massive. Probably for a guy like if I don't know if Kyron Lacy's going to play, but if Kyron Lacy doesn't play, Mason Taylor's not going to play, then you look and you go, okay, well, man, massive opportunity for someone like Trey'Dez Green. Kamorian Pimpton's gone, Mason Taylor's gone. Green probably plays slot tight end, that sort of hybrid tight end in this game, I would think. Massive opportunity for Trey'Dez Green. Offensive line, absolutely. Do the defensive ends stay? If Braden Swinson, Savion Jones, do they play in the game? I don't know. But like if they don't, all right, Gabe Relaford, come on down, man. It's your turn. Do we Deshaun Womack's already gone. Do we see Kalaj Cobbins? Does Paris Shand play in the game? Those are the kind of things that we look at and go, what's the plan? You're going to see a lot of younger guys there. Jason, morning, Uncle Scone. Franklin's in going for state. Awesome, man. Good luck to him. That's it. South Plaquemine used to be Burris. Okay, got it. Hey, Damon, good morning. Quentin Brakebill, good morning. Make defense great again. Morning, Matt. I find it interesting, Bill Belichick said in his press conference, he went around to the major programs during the season to see how they run, LSU being one of them. Did he mention LSU in his press? I didn't see his press conference, but he was here for the Oklahoma game. I'd mentioned that to y'all that he was supposed to come in for the Bama game. He was shooting something for NFL Films, and he was supposed to come for the Bama game. That got put off because RC had asked me to find a high school game for Belichick to go to on a Friday night when he was in town. Well, the first week, if you remember, it was the Bama week. Well, that's when that storm came through, and all the high school games got moved to Thursday. So there weren't any Friday night games for him to go to. That's not why he didn't come, but anyway, it was better anyway. But yes, he was here. He was here for the Oklahoma game. Oh, there you go. Used to be Port Sulphur when Cyrus Crutchfield was coach. They combined Burris and Boothville. Got it. I remember the 08 championship with South Plaquemines. I remember that. Gunner, morning, Matt. Any word on VTEX or in the portal? Graded out really well as a sophomore. Hoping to get Sage back too. Thought it was good coverage safety by the end of the year. I haven't heard the guy you're talking about from Virginia Tech. I've not heard mentioned. Right. So I mean, I've told y'all that I got a call about Jacoby Matthews. Again, I don't know how deep down the road that is. I just know that he wants to play next year, and LSU is on his list. They're bringing in the safety from Jacksonville State for a visit, and they're trying to get the safety from Purdue in for a visit. So those are the 3 that I've heard so far. Hang on one second. I got to go Stop Drew's sound machine and stuff. Thomas, here you go.
Parish Construction and Roofing. At Parish, we've got you covered. From the top of your roof, all the way down. Parish Construction and Roofing. Parish Built. Parish Built. Parish Built. From your hometown, parishbuilt.com.
Come on, come say hi to that show. No, okay. He wanted to get out of bed. And I said, "You want to go say hi to that show?" He said, "Yes," and then he just walked straight down. Oh man! All right, please smash the like button if you would. Subscribe to the channel. Facebook, like the page, share the post. There we go. Remember, if you need an orthopedic, go to Brock the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, and then Parish Construction and Roofing. Unique Physique and Restored Motions. Unique Physique, that's semaglutide, tirzepatide, the weight loss shots you hear people talk about all the time. Lowest prices, never any contracts. Do the whole thing over telemed. They can ship your medicine anywhere in the country. So no matter where you're listening and watching, we appreciate you for being there. UniquePhysique.com. Let's see. August, Morning Madness, Paul Feinbaum invited you back since you were on before the season. Now that Bama is burning. I went on with Paul at Media Days on set with him. I think that was no. I don't think I did during the season. It's interesting. So Paul's producers booked the guests, and the original producer of the Paul Feinbaum show is Pat Smith. When Paul left Jocks for SEC Network, Pat stayed at Jocks and is actually on air now at Jocks. Go this way. You'll come stay at that show. Oh. And Paul's had different producers over the years, so some of them call me. The challenging thing is we're on at the same time, except he does 1 hour earlier on the front end. So the only time the only time I could go on with Paul would be in the 2:00 hour, 2:00 Central. So his first hour. So I've done that before from time to time, but I haven't been since Media Days. Matt, will any of the backup players that jumped into the portal try to play in the bowl game? I don't think so, man. I think because those guys who are in the portal are, they're taking visits and looking for new schools to be at. They're not going through bowl practice. LSU started bowl practice yesterday. So if you're in the portal and you have teams contacting you and you're going on visits and all that stuff, I did two things. I did find out. First of all, there's going to be a pretty cool announcement today. Y'all remember I told you that. There's going to be a pretty cool announcement today. I won't spill the beans, but pretty cool announcement today, and we'll talk about it on AFR for sure. That's one. Two, I did find out about CJ Daniels. So apparently, we all know tampering happens, but apparently, has he announced his destination yet? Okay, he scheduled an Auburn visit. Yeah, so CJ Daniels is going to Auburn. I'm told that's been done. So Auburn made him an offer, and he didn't even let LSU counter. He just took it, because apparently one of his teammates from Liberty is going to Auburn. Go this way, and of course he played for Hugh Freeze at Liberty. But then one of his, I don't know if it's the quarterback, or another. I don't know. Maybe it was a receiver. I found it anyway. One of CJ Daniels' great friends from Liberty or teammates apparently is going to Auburn or is at Auburn, and so Auburn made him an offer, and he just took it without. It was enough to where he didn't even let LSU counter. He just took it. So. That was weird. Sorry about that. So yeah, I expect CJ Daniels to go to Auburn. That's what happened there. I'm sorry, I got to find my place again. I just absolutely accidentally left the studio, so now I got to find my place again on here. Oh, here we go. Saw a video about the Giants taking Cam Ward, and the Miami offense goes with him. Yeah. Michael Cook, good morning. Brian Jones, is Taylor and Jones playing the bowl? Yeah, I don't know, Brian. That's Brian Kelly hasn't answered that yet, but they're on the practice field, so we should have a good sense. My guess would be no. I don't think Campbell, Jones, or Taylor, the guys that have declared early for the draft, I don't think any of them are playing in the bowl game. I think the more interesting one is going to be the seniors, Savion Jones, Braden Swinson, Miles Frazier, Garrett Dellinger, Parrish Shand. You know, those guys, Zy Alexander, I think those guys are going to be the ones that are more interesting. Josh Williams, those guys will be the ones more interesting to keep an eye on. Nuss is back. It's huge for us. Let's get the portal right. I mean, they're doing all the right things, y'all. I mean, LSU's in the mix. Go this way. LSU's in the mix for all the biggest names at their positions of need. Now you got to land them. You're not going to get them all. You know, who can you land? Bailey, I feel like building through high school approach is difficult. Isn't the 2023 class almost gone? Bailey, it's almost like you've been listening to AFR and Morning Scone and Locked on LSU. Yeah, so that's been the point that we made. It's I think what you're seeing is sort of this. I think you're trying to balance the scales, right? I don't think necessarily the way Lane Kiffin did it, where he went and got 30 guys out of the portal. I don't think that's necessarily sustainable. And I don't know that numbers wise, you're going to be able to go sign 25 to 30 high school guys and single digit portal guys every year and have that be sustainable. But we'll see. Because the numbers that bear out are that roughly a quarter of college football entered the portal last year. So if you just do that math, that's 15 to 20 guys from your roster every year that are entering the portal. So if in 2 years, half of your signing class is gone, then you're not retaining the young talent and developing them through your program. So like half of the 2023 class is already gone. So like that's really hard to build through your high school recruiting when after 2 years, half that class is gone. So I think you pivot, you continue to recruit that many high school guys, but you have to put a little more emphasis on impact players in the portal to replace the guys that you were expecting by year 3 to be impact guys for you that leave. Tim Gotro, good more like an example is Lance Hurd, right? Lance Hurd was a 5-star. If Lance Hurd had stayed, he'd be your starting left tackle next year, period. But he was here for 1 year and left. So you get it. It stinks. I mean, Shelton Sampson, Jaylen Brown, how different is the receiver conversation this offseason if Jaylen Brown had stayed, if Shelton was going into his third, you know what I mean? It'd be a very different conversation. Leon, thoughts on Campbell walking off the field last night? I didn't get to watch the game. I left work, went to the Calandros raffle, came home and had to do my podcast. So I didn't get to see the game last night. I did see it on Get Up. So I don't know why he walked off the field, but bad look for sure. Has John Emery retired from football? That's the word, yes. That's what Brian Kelly said. Does O-line switch from need to must? No, Tiger Diver. I'd still think I'd put it at need because of what I just said. I mean, you've got you could start Cohen Eccles at center, Mubenga and Chester at guard, and then Tyree Adams, Weston Davis at tackle, and you still have Bo Bordelon as well, who can be a swing guy. And then you got 3 other freshmen this year who didn't play. So you've got go this way. And then you got Solomon Thomas coming in, who's a 5-star. You got the freshman class coming in, right? So you've got numbers. What you don't have necessarily is someone with starting experience. So you can go get that if you have a plug-and-play starter in the portal. But to this point, we haven't heard anything about any starting offensive linemen, LSU pursuing any starting offensive linemen. Okay, he didn't specifically mention LSU. Abner Neal, good morning. Reed Rule, happy Friday. Is Jones going pro? Big reason Solomon Thomas flipped. No, Solomon Thomas flipped because, and Solomon Thomas plays guard. Solomon Thomas flipped because, I mean, Alex Atkins was his coach, was the coach that recruited him to Florida State, the offensive coordinator and offensive line coach. And when they fired Alex Atkins, that basically put Solomon Thomas on the outside. And big credit to Brad Davis, man. He swooped in and made the impression and developed a relationship and got it done. Let's see. I'm taking your advice. As soon as my internet gets up and running, I'll start streaming. Tried to do practice video. Wouldn't upload. Get crappy service where I live. All good. Get it going. Hey, Guy Brooks. Good morning, man. Good to see you there. Thomas, celebrity guest speaker tomorrow. Or are you talking about like the cool announcement? No, y'all, believe me, you'll know the announcement today when you see it. Ryan, any word about Jacoby Matthews? Nothing more. I just told y'all earlier this week that I got a call earlier this week about Jacoby Matthews, and I don't think it's a great surprise that he didn't play this year, but intends to play. He left A&M after the spring, went into the portal in the spring. Well, in the spring portal, you can't transfer within the SEC, so he was picking between LSU and Ole Miss and couldn't transfer within the league, so he didn't play football this year. This effectively was his redshirt year. He stayed in school taking online classes this fall to maintain his eligibility, so he'll transfer and be for the spring semester and be in spring football somewhere. So LSU needs safety help. We'll see. DC basketball making the postseason. I do. Charlie, good morning. Jeff, what up, my dude? Brian, CJ Daniels, former quarterback at Liberty, is going, okay, so that's the answer then. It's his quarterback. So I couldn't remember. I didn't remember the name or whatever, but so basically one of his friends, teammates from Liberty, is going to Auburn, and apparently, Auburn made Daniels an NIL offer, and LSU didn't even have an opportunity to counter. He was just gone. So that was a little bit of a surprise, but Jonathan Campbell said he's going to be there on the sidelines helping coach up the young guys. Cool. Nick, good morning, Matt. Why even pay high school guys if they're going to leave in year or two? I understand you have to build a high school class, but how you allocate your funds, certainly I think you put less into high school recruiting, especially at the quarterback position, which is the kind of conversation we've had. Like yesterday, I gave the example of Malachi Nelson. Malachi Nelson was the 5-star number 1 quarterback in the class of 2023. He went to USC, played with Lincoln Riley. Left after 1 year, went to Boise State this year. Didn't win the starting job. Now he's in the portal again. Former 5-star quarterback, 3 classes in 3 years, or 3 places in 3 years. So, okay, y'all. I got to get going. Hey, Dad. Good morning. I just added my dad, so I'm just jumping there. Yep. 7:45. It's actually 7:46, so I got to go. All right, let me bounce. Y'all have a great day. All of our sponsors are linked in the description on YouTube and tagged on Facebook, so please support our great sponsors. Locked on LSU is already live. I went into much more detail about Emery Jones, offensive line, Sage Ryan, and kind of comparing LSU's current portal situation, meaning players leaving, to the playoff teams. The numbers may surprise you. Anyway, okay, y'all have a great day. We'll see you for AFR 3. Peace.